This gets to a larger question. The larger question is, to what extent is the press a kind of determinative factor in political outcomes? And that's, a lot of people have studied that, and it's very hard to prove that the press has any effect at all on political outcomes. Reporters love to think we do, and they would say, politicians wouldn't spend so much time paying attention to us if we didn't matter a lot. Um, the primary responsibility for the war in Iraq lies with the Bush administration. And Congress voted for it, and it was popular in the polls, and it was in some non-logical way fueled by 9/11. So we're talking about a fairly fine-grained thing here, which is the leading voices in the elite press who we rely on. It's, by weight a very small part of journalism, but a leadership part and a part we rely on to sort of set signals about outcomes. It didn't have its finest hour at that moment. It was a hard story to report. Some people reported it well, and there was some, overly credulous reporting. But I don't think the press is responsible for the war in Iraq. I mean, let me put it another way. My own belief, and we'll never know this for 50 years, I don't think the war in Iraq had anything to do with the question of whether there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. I don't think that was the motive for the Bush administration, primarily in wanting to go wage war in Iraq, and it was an argument that was put forward for war. It was not the only argument. It was sort of the narrative leading up to the war because it was kind of available as a rationale. And in the end, the way it was set up, there is no way to tell whether a country has weapons of mass destruction. And furthermore, I would add, I can't think of an example of the outside world really being successful in stopping any country, from having a nuclear program. Um, so, I'm not really buying into the idea that there was this that the press bears primary responsibility. I'm not saying the press performed magnificently or couldn't have done a better job either.